Hey, what's up guys? It's Mike over at Martin's Exotics. I'm doing a quick video about hedgehog breeding since when I put out the post the other night about asking questions, one of the questions I got was if, about hedgehog breeding, if it's easy to do and such. And I'm going to put this pair back together, so I figured I'd go ahead and make the video and hopefully answer your question a lot better. So let's get started. Essentially, hedgehog breeding is easy to do as far as pairing them and making them breed and mate and all that good stuff. The problems that you run into are usually, as far as the whole process goes, are after she has the babies. Well, let's go ahead and start with the basic part, is once you introduce them. I've got the female here that I've got a pair. This female happens to be an albino. Here's the male. The male is a split-faced pinto, so he's back in his tub here where he lives, and she's going to go spend the next 7 days with him. So you put him in like so, and basically he's going to start sniffing around, catch her scent, and start chasing her around the cage and courting. Eventually he's going to... Here he goes already. So then eventually he's going to breed with her, and in about 35 days she'll have her babies. Now, like I said, this is the easy part here, putting them together, and the problems come later on when she has the babies. There's all kinds of risks and issues. You know, the mother could just not be a fit mother and end up eating the babies, not taking to them and not wanting to nurse them and care for them, which then, you can go ahead and try to do yourself, and that does take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and there's not a very high success rate. So, essentially, when you see a hedgehog posted for the going rate, that's the reason why, is it's not always successful. There's a lot of work and a lot of effort that goes into it. Then when you do get past the 2 to 3 week mark, and the babies are safe and clear and they're going to survive, then you've got we've got to rehouse them and all that stuff. So there is a lot that goes into it as far as that aspect. Is it easy? Yes and no. I mean, this part here, like I said, is easy. The after the breeding part is the hard part. So I mean, you can draw your own conclusions on it now that you've kind of seen the basics of it. And like I said, breeding is not for everybody. Not everybody should do it. You shouldn't just run out and buy a couple animals and stick them together. Yeah, you definitely want to do your research beforehand. Ask a lot of questions. And like I said, with the post that we did, we're always here to help, always here to answer whatever questions you may have, whatever comes up. The other thing with hedgehog breeding is, if you're going to breed hedgehogs, they are regulated by the USDA, meaning that you do have to have a permit. There are exceptions to it. Say, for example, here we have just enough females to stay under what's mandatory to have the permit, because you can have up to 3 breeding females. Breeding females are, whether or not you're breeding them, it doesn't really matter. If you have 3 females that are breeding age, that's considered breeding. As far as when the females should breed, they have to be at least 5 months and have to have a litter by the time they turn 1. If they haven't had a litter by the time they turn a year old, just flat out don't breed them. They're just not breedable, because their whole little areas and their pelvis and such tend to fuse up, and then you have all kinds of other problems, and she could die. Let's see, what else is there to cover real quick? The first 2 weeks after the babies are born, you really do not want to disturb her. You don't want to spook her, stress her out, because she can, like I said, turn on the babies and eat them, or just abandon them altogether. And that's not good. That's not a good thing at all. Then, of course, there's a matter of housing and what you're going to do with the babies when they're born and when they're weaned. Weaning starts at about 5 weeks. At about 5 weeks old, you can handle them. You can start taking them away from their mom and getting them ready to go. Let's see if there's anything else I can think of real quick. Outside of that, I'm pretty sure I've touched on most of the basics of it. Oh, you know what? In fact, let's talk about the genetic process real quick. As far as that goes, you do not inbreed them. They're not bred that way. Reason being is all the defects and abnormities come out that way. They're not engineered and set up and don't have the ability, like say a leopard gecko or some of your other species, for inbreeding. That's not how they're bred. You always want to make sure your breeding lines are clean, and definitely stay away from the inbred part. There's the International Society of Hedgehogs that has a database that you can register with and helps to track and make sure that you're not inbreeding. When that happens, they are more susceptible to genetic defects and diseases and such. Outside of that, I think that's about it. If I missed anything or if you have any questions, feel free to post them. I would definitely be more than happy to answer them, and we'll go from there. I mean, there's more videos to come. Thanks for checking this one out. Have a good day.